Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Miranda Whalen. I will keep an eye on the waiting room. I have started the recording.
Thank you, Miranda. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to the Evergreen Weekly Waiver Provider Meeting. My name is Lisa Merrill. I am the Assistant Information Services Manager here at ODES. I'm filling in for Leslie Miska today. She is on a much needed vacation, and she has given me some points to talk about today. First of all, some housekeeping. As usual, if you have questions, please add them to the Q&A portion of this meeting. We do have some people that are monitoring that, and hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions. And if we can't get to them, we are reviewing them after every meeting so that we can go ahead and provide you answers within our next meeting or via email or our Evergreen Weekly Provider update that we send via email. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your patience and understanding during our transition from EIS to Evergreen. I know that it's been trying. We've all come to the task and have been working very diligently to get through our problems that we're having. I want you to know that it is our highest priority to get every aspect of the system up and running seamlessly. We're making some great strides. We've done some provider reach outs. We are going to start doing some more provider reach outs within the next couple of weeks. Myself, a couple other team members will be reaching out to you and to your agencies to provide some one-on-one assistance. So we will be scheduling those within the next couple of weeks. That said, each of you should have received an email from our office that contained the weekly Evergreen update earlier this week. I'd like to take a couple of moments to highlight a couple of the important items from that communication. One of the items that was on that communication was, how do you as a provider submit a provider follow-up for a migrated reportable event? So if it came from EIS over to Evergreen, it is in a completed status. And so therefore you can't actually add a reportable event follow-up. What we would like you to do is go to the Evergreen Help Center within Evergreen and download the Word document that allows you to fill that in. It's kind of like a paper form, if you will. Once you've filled that in, you can email that to evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov, and we will go ahead and enter that for you. Another question that we received was, how do you revise a service implementation plan? So PCP data entry or SIP providers will need to reach out to the assigned community case manager or care coordinator to request that the CCM revise the PCP as a PCP type change with the change reason of change in service implementation plan, and then set the SIP or SIPs requiring edits to in progress by revising from the SIP tab of the PCP. After the provider has made the necessary edits and submitted the SIP, the CCM or care coordinator should review the updated SIPs with the person and approve or complete the SIPs before recapturing plan signatures and setting the PCP to complete. So I know that there was a lot and it was a mouthful, but it is in your actual Evergreen weekly update that we sent in the email. So also, as a reminder, to support all of our users as efficiently as possible, we encourage you to follow the steps outlined in the post-deploy support plan. And those are, number one, our self-help resources. That includes the FAQs, training videos, business process documentation, and the Evergreen Help Center. All of the links to that information is in that communication as well. And if you're not able to find what you're looking for, you should contact your agency support person. They were formerly called Change Champions, but we've changed that naming to agency support person now. Talking about issues and questions regarding Evergreen, ODES is currently working on a streamlined process for questions and issues to expedite resolution for our end users. We're hoping and anticipating to roll this out within the next couple of weeks. This process, we've done some testing, and it does look like it's going to be much easier, and it'll be one-stop shopping. So you'll be able to enter your question, and then it will disseminate to the people that needs to answer those questions. Now I would like to turn things over to Alexi Greenleaf. She's our waiver manager here at ODES, and Emily Kalifarsky, the resource development manager. Emily and Alexi.
Hi, folks. This is Emily Kalifarsky. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very sorry I'm off camera, as some folks may experience in their own lives. I'm joining you remotely from a car, so to save some data, I'm not able to share my screen, to share my face today. But all that to say, I just want to echo what Lisa has shared in terms of appreciation for folks' patience. Certainly, we have a very high volume of emails coming in right now. That is the first topic that I wanted to touch on. And then I will pause and take a breath if Alexi wants to say hello. Apologies for that, Alexi. Myself, Alexi Greenleaf, and Donna Benson, who is another for our team, we're responding feverishly, is probably probably an accurate word, as fast as we can, feverishly responding to emails for folks that are coming in. I just wanted to, again, if you're not aware, kind of touch on where are some good ways to reach out to us if you're not aware. Certainly you can continue to use, again, to follow the guidance that was given out in terms of if you're part of any of the Evergreen provider Teams chats for case managers or waiver providers, or speaking with your change champion, emailing evergreen.dhs@maine.gov for concerns related to type of access you have, of course, reaching out to FEI again as appropriate and indicated in our help center for Evergreen. But in terms of specific urgent concerns that either waiver providers or case managers have, what we've asked folks to do is to email resource coordinator odes@maine.gov if they have questions related to authorizations for services. And if you're a case manager with urgent needs, to email hcbswaiver@maine.gov. That is, again, the way to reach out to us. That I think is, in this instance, while we're still, again, hearing some atypical situations that, sometimes have occurred with migration, or folks needing to let us know again of feeling stuck in the process and wanting, again, sort of that individual response, we're able to do that as quickly as we can. And we appreciate your patience. I think, again, in many instances, we're beyond our typical, again, state government practice of trying to respond within a business day, if at all possible, which is why many of you get an auto response sort of explaining that piece. But again, just want to express our appreciation for all of you folks for keeping at it. A lot of our issues, I guess, are, from my perspective, are certainly improving as we learn more about the system and get faster in our responses and develop, again, consistent ways to do workarounds where the system isn't quite working as we would at this point in time sort of hope for it to be. So while I take a breath, apologies, I didn't let Alexi introduce herself. So I just want to give her a moment for that. If you'd like to say hello, Alexi, and any initial thoughts from you before I can go on with a couple other things.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexi Greenleaf, one of the newer members of the waiver team. Most of you probably know, well, most of you do know Donna Benson, who's also here with us. So with that being said, like I said, I am one of the newer members. I'm still learning a lot of things waiver, but definitely taking a very quick dive into the authorization side of things. So as I learn, you may get some emails back from me, hoping to help triage and troubleshoot some issues that everyone's having. Like Emily said, if you have sent an email to the resource coordinator ODES inbox for a provider, or if you have dual roles and use the HCBS mailbox, we do get them, we are reading them, and we will respond to them. We do appreciate your patience. And our team, just like you all, we're also learning in the learning process. So It is taking a little bit longer than normal, but we are getting there and we are learning every day, working as a team to learn every day and learn about the things that are working very well and the things that may not be working so well, then we need to do the workaround. So we do appreciate everybody's patience. Thank you.
So I don't want to take too much more time because I know there's a lot of other folks that also are contributing to the agenda, and those of you that are agency support people that were with us on Monday for that meeting know that a fair bit of time during that meeting was spent sort of in the weeds of talking about prior authorizations. So again, I want to try to be really brief, but I just wanted to try to touch on some of the more common questions that we've had lately, just in case that would be helpful for folks that aren't aware. We've had a number of folks asking if authorizations for agency home support, so T2016 or T2016 SC, a lot of folks asking if those authorizations will be adjusted to the end dates that were previously in EIS as entered by Essentra, formerly KeyPro. And the answer is yes. We're doing that again as quickly as possible, trying to prioritize, in terms of timeframes where that's most essential. So apologies for that. Again, we appreciate your patience and also partnership from Essentra to assist with that as they encounter those issues as well. I also wanted to mention briefly that many folks were confused by the fact that you may have seen an authorization that, for example, starts January 1st of 2024 and ends, let's say, March 20th of 2025. So longer than a year. And you might say, well, that's a length I might, have expected because this person just had their annual planning meeting. And so I know that they have a PCP that's approved from, March 2024 to March 2025. But again, the units aren't making sense to you. That was a known error with migration that we started addressing as quickly as we could as soon as we saw those instances. So again, certainly you can bring up those concerns. We're, as I mentioned, addressing any of those lists of issues that come in through the resource coordinator odes.maine.gov email address that describe issues like that. But I just wanted to give the reassurance that we're aware that there's not enough units for it to be a full year of service for that person, and issuing again the appropriate units in a separate year-long authorization that would go, for example, I forget my dates already, but let's say March 20th of 2024 to March 19th of 2025. So again, that's a very common question we're getting. I know this seems like a duh moment, but please try to make sure you always include, when you're reaching out about a specific member-related issue or question, please include the MaineCare number. I mentioned that as opposed to Evergreen or whatnot. In the past, we had a little bit more time sometimes to be detectives and to use different identifiers or partial bits of information, but things like initials really do slow us down because there's not enough information, and it also makes it harder to loop in other folks like our partners at the Office of MaineCare Services, particularly many of you know Olivia Hartman, who has been a great help to us with this transition, always a great help to us, but particularly with this transition. So if you have concerns related to, why did this claim deny or whatnot, if you don't CC Olivia, I will certainly be adding her so that she can pitch in and tell us what she can see from her side and give her troubleshooting tips and tricks. So time is quickly passing, so I think I might stop for now. And then, of course, I'll be spending some time responding to questions in the Q&A. But again, I want to make sure that other folks that were, taking the time to be here today had enough time for their topics, particularly because we did spend a fair bit of time on Monday talking about some of the weeds of prior authorizations and the work that my team does. So at this point, just taking a quick look to make sure he's here. My understanding is that Derek is up next. Is that right, Lisa?
Yes, that's correct. Hopefully he's here.
If he's not here, then I think it would jump over him to Angela and Nancy. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go ahead and go with Angela and Nancy. Angela and Nancy, are you ready?
Sure, I can go ahead. My voice is weak, so I apologize in advance. But I'm here to show you a couple of quick tips and tricks that we've created for you guys, and we're going to put them into the help center following this meeting, but I wanted to go over them with you real quick. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I can do that. Move some things around here. First one we're going to go over is a PCP plan signatures issue. I'm sure everybody is aware. If you're not, this has been major issue for the last couple of weeks in getting plans moved into complete status. So we have a fix for now to get to the migrated stuff. And I'll walk you through this real quick. So you're going to navigate to the plan signature section of the PCP, and we have bulleted steps to get there. Share edit mode and quick search are on. They're orange. Scroll down to the summary of the plan and click on plan signatures. Plan signature section will display. This self section is migrated from EIS, so there's no data in the signature type field and date signed, which makes the completion requirement incomplete. Then you would retract that information. So you click retract as shown in the screenshot. The data in the self section will clear. We're going to have you go do this for each section. So if you see anything that was migrated over in the case manager section, you do the same thing. Case manager section is migrated over, and there's some things that aren't recognized, which makes the plan completion requirements incomplete. So we would do again the retract shown the screenshot. We'll take the information out. And then the last one is guardian section. Again, things populate in that it doesn't recognize, which makes the completion requirement complete. So we would want you to go and retract that. The data in the guardian section will be cleared. Now the completion requirements are met. You may find that on the first retract, when you do self, that your completion requirements might show up as complete with your green circle and 2 check marks. At that point, you should be able to drop the status down and select plan complete. So I just need a minute to change my settings here. Grab the other PowerPoint that I have. So bear with me for 1 second. All right, let me start sharing the next one. Everybody should be able to see my screen. The next one we're going to go over is the service implementation plan. How to find which service implementation plans you should be working on, and then how to get to those plans to work on them. We'll walk through this one. A little more time to do this one. So service implementation plan SIP search report. You'll click on the report on the top right navigation as shown in the screenshot. That navigates the report to the reports list. In some cases, the report will pop up automatically. So you might just click on that and those 2 reports will show up, and the one that you want is the SIP report. If it doesn't, you would have to search the report. You can start typing SIP provider invitation report into the search and hit search, and it will bring it up for you. Then you double click on the report to open it. SIP form status filter is defaulted to in progress. You're going to click preview on top as shown in the screenshot. That navigates to the results list page. This is what you'll see once you navigate to that results list page. We blacked out any PHI. After navigating to the results list page, you're going to click on export as shown in the screenshot. You can export the results to Excel or PDF or Word. You're going to scroll to the right, and you'll see the active column. You'll locate the person ID that has the PCP, which is active equals no, and the latest modified date. So you might have multiple people in here, multiple plans for one person. You want to make sure that you go into the active equals no, and that it's the person, it's the latest revised modified date. So you're going to want to make notes of this, because we're going to leave this and we're going to move into the person record to do the rest of this. So you're going to make note of all person IDs and form IDs, which have active equal no and are the latest last modified. You'll need person ID on slide 8, and you'll need form ID on slide 11. For those of you who have multiple screens, you can probably do copy and paste and all that good stuff, but This is for those of us like me. Now we're gonna search the person in Evergreen. We'll walk you through. I'm sure most of you all know how to do this, but if you don't, it'll be in here. Take the person ID from the SIP provider invitation report, enter the person ID in the search bar as shown in the screenshot. How to check for the PCP and form in Evergreen. Once on the person dashboard, on the left navigation, click on Forms Plans as shown in the screenshot, which will navigate you to all forms list page. How to navigate to custom PCP form page. On the top right, you will see the hamburger. We call it hamburger. There's all kinds of names for it. Everybody has all their own names, but we'll call it hamburger. The 3 lines shown in the screenshot. Select the person-centered plan under case care plans and forms, which will navigate you to the PCP custom forms page. Click on the 3 lines as shown in the screenshot. It will make that, then you click on the column select, check the following options, active, status. Then click on the 3 lines again to remove the dropdown. Double click on the form ID from the SIP provider invitation report. So you're gonna use that information from above and find that form, and you're gonna click on that, which will bring you to this page. Note, you see a message. Sorry, you don't have access to this page. You don't have access to what you're looking at, but you do have access to the SIP. So you're gonna click on the SIP tab, showing the screenshot, which will navigate you to the SIP's form list page. We'll click on the SIP from that form that's in the status of in progress for your service. You're gonna turn the edit mode on as shown in the screenshot. You're gonna turn the quick view on as shown in the screenshot. You're gonna click on the pencil as shown in the figure. Edit SIP details windows is open. Enter all required fields on the screen. Make sure you check the box. Checking this box signifies my agreement to provide the services reflected in this plan. Then you can click save. Here we ask you to double check before you do anything. Make sure the box is checked. Checking this box signifies my agreement to provide the services affected to the plan. Check all the completion requirements are met. Make sure you've got everything in there that you want in there, that everything is the way you would like it. Then under the status dropdown, select submit. And that's what you'll do. And once you do that, it goes to the case manager, and the case manager will then do their part. Try to stop sharing my screen. Those will end up on the channels. I'm going to send it to Emily, Angela, and I'm going to send it to Lisa to put on the help center in Evergreen, so you can reference them there. Thank you, Lisa.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nancy.
Sorry for my voice, but I talk all day, every day.
That's right. Nancy's done a great job reaching out to providers, and her and Angela and Udaya on our team have been reaching out. So most of you have probably already spoken with Nancy. Thank you, Nancy, for all that you do. Derek, are you ready?
I am, yes. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Apologize for being a little bit late to log in. My name is Derek Fales. I oversee sections 21, 18, 20, and 29 for the developmental disabilities and brain injury team. I just wanted to acknowledge that there has been many messages and emails requesting ODEs to ensure that if person-centered plans and authorizations are not entered in Evergreen and feeding over to MIMS prior to the service being delivered, that there would be a retroactive payment. And so what I can share today, and there'll be a message that if it hasn't already gone out, will be going out, that as our current and our past practice has always been, if there is a signed agreement by the member and the providers who are saying, yes, I'm going to deliver this specific service and the amount and frequency, and that we know that that has been agreed upon. We have that signed person-centered plan, that we will enter in those authorizations. And so the requirement of course still remains that there has to be a plan that is signed, that does authorize the department to enter in those authorizations. So if the member had their plan signed and agreed upon 3 weeks ago, we have a copy of that. We can see that we're going to enter in those authorizations. Because your plan was signed 3 weeks ago, the authorizations are going to go back 3 weeks ago, because it's the entering in the authorizations is dependent on when that plan was agreed upon by the member or the guardian and the team. So hopefully that will, and that it has always been our practice, and moving forward, hopefully that will ensure that no member is terminated from their services and that no member goes without services. And that is all that I have. Are there any questions on the entering in or backdating of the service authorizations?
Yeah, Miranda, can we go ahead and open up the line, or?
Well, while she's doing that, can I just want to address one thing, because early in this meeting, I had gone in to answer a question for Ariana Lindquist, and because she had added a question about not being able to bring service providers into her plan, adding service and supports. And I know I've been emailing back and forth with her, so I had hit the wrong button to answer her question. So I want to do that real quick. And her and I have been back and forth in the email chain, and we are meeting with her agency today. And I know that she can't make that meeting, but Ariana, I want to know if there's a way that you could have someone on your team bring some of those concerns to this meeting, because it will be recorded so you can view it later. Otherwise, if you want to meet with us individually, it's just gonna have to wait till next week, because we are booked solid today. So I'm gonna leave that to you, Ariana, your choice, whether you want us to address it with your team or you want to meet with us individually, and you can let me know through email. Thanks. I'm sorry for screwing that answer up.
That's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
This
you,
is
Nancy.
Miranda. Participants can now unmute themselves. I would recommend that if you do have a question, to use the raise hand function so that we can keep an organized chaos to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda.
There are a few questions in the FAQs that have not yet been answered.
But I was
If you
gonna
want
suggest
to
maybe we
bounce
can-
to those.
Lisa, I see one that will the rate be added to the PA utilization report? No, that was addressed previously, I believe.
Yeah, well, what was the question, Nancy? I'm sorry, I can't.
No, it says it was whether the rate would be added to the PA utilization report, and I'm pretty sure that was addressed last week at some point, where Leslie said that that's something that's in the works. So
Yes, we do have a ticket out there. It's just that it will probably be, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks before that's actually added to that report, just because we have competing priorities as far as ticket escalations.
And this is Emily, and I just wanted to chime in on that topic. I answered that question in the Q&A, so you can see there's a link I put there if people are curious about where to find current rates. So it's Office of Main Care Services rate setting webpage, and then you click on provider fee schedules, and then the relevant section of policy that you have questions about. So that is always the best place to go, because there can be sometimes lags in terms of how quickly the Chapter 3s are updated. But I do just also want to say that even if that function that rate is added, I just want to caution you that, because I know sometimes, again, folks, have information, they print it out, they file it away. Services will pay at the appropriate rate at that point in time. So I just want to, again, put that out there, that you could have a document that says, the reimbursement rate for this service to provide the service to Emily for her PCP year, into 2025 is $158 a day, which is roughly what it is for family-centered support one member served. But again, come the new calendar year, when new rates are set, there will be increases. So, the annual COLA increases. So all that to say, I just want to give folks that point of reference that that's why in MIMS, for any service that has a standard reimbursement rate, and by that I mean like something that's not paid by invoice, something that's not potentially variable. If you see in MIMS a service authorization that is either blank or showing $0, that's because, again, it has a standard reimbursement rate. So it will pay at the appropriate rate for that date of service at that point in time. I hope that is clear. If not, please ask some follow-up questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. I'm just going to go through. I see quite a few hands up. So I'm just going to go as I see them on my screen. So first up, Tammy Usher.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I was wondering, and I've asked this question a few times and haven't seen the answer anywhere, if there was a document that outlined the roles that people have for the users in Evergreen and what permissions each role should have. And one of the reasons why I asked that is because if we have new folks that are coming on and using Evergreen, we want to make sure that we're requesting the correct role and permissions. So is that something that you guys have available?
We don't have it available right now, but we could certainly make that available to you. As far as provider roles and what are available for each provider to ask for. So yes, we can certainly work on getting that out to everybody. We are working on a form, I do believe, so that you'll know exactly when requesting access, what roles to request. So yes, we do have that on our list of things to do. So we will get that out to you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Brandy Eaton.
Yes, hi. My question is that I've sent a lot of questions in about various things for reportable events, and my response is to contact the change champion. We do not have one, and the only answer I've gotten of what to do from there is to become one myself. I don't want to become one, so I don't know who I'm supposed to go to get these answers.
Sure, I understand that frustration. So do you have your questions available right now?
I have a few different ones. So I have made a reportable event that was done in error, and I keep getting notifications to delete that, but I don't have an option to delete that.
Yes. So for deletions, can you please email evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov, and we can do that. It has to be somebody on our team that will be able to delete that.
Okay. Do that. And then we also, because we're an ICFID section 50, nobody was given like a case manager role. So when we do our reportable events and it has the drop down button of who to assign the 30-day follow-up to, we've been hitting case manager because none of the options are anybody who works here. So I'm not sure what we're supposed to do in that instance.
That's a great question. I'm going to have to look at that one and get back to you on that. I'm going to have to coordinate with Steph Barrett to see what we need to do there. And Steph, I think you're on the call. So you and I can kind of look at that and get back to you on that.
Yeah, Lisa, and I'm sorry, I missed the question.
For reportable events, we have to assign the 30-day follow-up to somebody, and it gives us a drop-down menu, and it's not like names, it's like their titles, but none of the titles are anybody who works for our facility. So I've been putting case manager, but they told us because we're an ICF IID section 15, none of us have a case manager title.
Right. So in that case, every event still needs a reportable event done by the organization that entered the event. And that is similar to EIS. Lisa, we can catch up to a little bit later, but that's my understanding, is that the flow works similar to EIS, and that if you enter the event, you also need to enter a follow-up, even if it's just to say, the follow-up needs to be completed by another organization, but you still need to do the follow-up attached to that event.
Yeah, and I have been completing the follow-up. It's just a question who it says who you're assigning it to.
Yeah, it's not who you're assigning it to. It's asking who should complete. So who is the responsible provider at the time of the event that should complete a follow-up? And that helps us in making sure that the appropriate follow-up does get completed. So right now in EIS, we didn't have a way to know if a case manager entered an event. We didn't have a way to know who was responsible at the time of the event, because often case managers are kind of that, the fail safe to make sure an event gets entered if the provider who really is the one that needs to do the follow-up hasn't made a report. And then what we do is we reach back out to that provider and say, hey, you need to do a report and a follow-up.
Okay, so if I'm already doing the follow-up and none of those options are anybody who works here, then I'm just putting.
You can just leave it. You can, well, so Lisa, we can offer some guidance on that. I think it's probably going to be to say that, you can leave it blank, but I'm not certain about that.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to you, Brandy.
Yeah, but that's okay. You guys can get back to me. Like I said, I had, I'll just ask one more, and then, with the reportable events, there's also a part where, like if we have a resident to resident contact and it says like, ask the question, have they been assaulted by somebody else receiving services? And if you hit yes, then the question is, who did they initiate the contact with? But they're not initiating the contact, they're the one getting hit. So I'm just confused on that part.
Sure, Brandy. We'll get back. I will coordinate with Steph as well on that, and we'll try and get some guidance around that question as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Derek, and Bernie, because the ICFs are certified, have to go through that CMS certification, and the requirements in ICF are to report those Sentinel events to licensing. We've definitely identified an area that we want to provide clarification, and so we will be ensuring that all ICFs have sort of clear communication on kind of the different responsibilities as it relates to the institution. Because we recognize that you don't have case managers, there's no section 13, and so it's very different than our traditional home and community-based services.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandy. Jennifer. You're on mute, Jennifer. Can you? There you go.
All right, so my question is, when I go into the SIPs, I have some that say in progress from back in like last year, August 2023. Can I just send those over for review so it clears my screen, or do I just leave them in progress?
Nancy, are you available to answer that question?
I can try. I know we've had the question posed when Uday is here, and I knew Uday wasn't going to be here today. I believe her answer has been, and Angela might be able to help me because she's been involved in these meetings. That if you leave it in progress and you continue on with the process, it will drop off.
Okay.
Angela, is that what you remember?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that is what will happen.
So it'll clear itself out.
Huh?
It'll clear itself out eventually.
Yes, it should drop off.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Fantastic. Thank you. John Dixon.
Hi there. I just had a quick question about service locations. We have a number of service locations that either repeat, are no longer associated with our organization, and even one that is misspelled. Will those at any point be cleaned up or narrowed down?
So John, the service locations come directly from MEMS as a feed from MEMS. So I would say that you would need to do a maintenance case there in order for that to feed over to Evergreen.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kathleen.
Oh, you're on mute. Can't hear you, Kathleen. Sorry.
Are you sure? Because it's showing
There
on
you
mute.
go. Nope, you're good
Okay.
now.
Sorry. Thank
Sorry.
you. Once you've completed the SIP, how do you print it off so that we can file it into our internal files? Can somebody show us how to print them? Because I'm not having any luck with the
We
obvious.
I'll take this because I know we just went over this. Angela, again, if you want to piggyback with me, we just went over this and Udaya tried, and we had said there was something. We don't have that right now. It is something that we know people are looking for, and in a group we worked on it. It was either yesterday or the day before.
Nancy, I have some of the, because
Yep.
Jaya put it in the case management channel, and I do have it that I can get to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe it can get put in. Kathleen, do you have access to the provider channel?
It's the case management
No,
one.
I know, but if she has
Yeah.
access to the provider channel, we could share it over there.
I don't believe I do unless my program manager does, and I could do it through with her.
Kathy, I can get that for you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, so if Bonnie, you could share that with Emily to get it into the provider channel.
Okay.
And again, I know we walked through this and it was a little bit of a struggle. So if this guidance doesn't work for you, bring it up again, because I mean, we're working feverishly to try to address all these things. And sometimes they just get behind something else and they hide there. So
thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen. And I apologize if I don't pronounce correctly. Pascasi?
That's all right. I just had a quick question, and it may have been answered. Regarding the reportable events, what I was told before was that if a follow-up was not done before the migration, that you could do a follow-up in Evergreen. But there is no reportable event from before that's in Evergreen. How are we supposed to do a follow-up on that? Thank you.
So just to clarify, you are saying that the reportable event did not migrate from EIS to Evergreen?
Correct. Like the previous reportable events that were done in EIS are nowhere to be found in Evergreen. So I cannot see them.
Yeah.
I can fill this if you want.
Yes, please, Steph.
Yeah. So many events did migrate without the organization that entered the event being attached. So that if you can't see an event, it doesn't mean it's not there. I think that's an important point. All of this data did migrate, but it might be that you can't see it because there were some pieces that didn't stay connected during the migration. And we found that the organization didn't come with a number of events. And so what we've issued as interim guidance on this issue is to go into the help center and grab that paper follow-up, complete that, and email it to evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov, and those will be entered to catch up. There is, I believe, an ongoing data fix in the background that's trying to get all those like orphaned pieces back together, but that's going to take time. So in the near term, go ahead, do the paper form and send it in. If you have questions about we've received a lot of questions about not being able to see the people you expect to see or not being able to see events. And the assumption has been, and we did it too, so I'm not saying this is the wrong assumption, except that we've learned differently since we've gotten into the system and started working with the information, is that it usually is there. It's oftentimes a question of permissions or a migration glitch, in which case what I'd recommend is if you can't see something you think you should see, you can certainly, with regard to reportable events, reach out to your district quality caseworker that you work with and ask if they can see it. Because a lot of times on our side, we've now got our stuff settled down enough that we can see the events, we can confirm that they're there, and we might be able to share some information with you. But also everything that was in EIS is still in EIS, and it's read only, and you can go back and get your event IDs and stuff like that to do that form and mail it in.
Okay, and where, sorry, thank you so much. And where do I find this form?
In the help center in Evergreen in the top right corner. Don't look at my screen. Top right corner.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Scott McCow.
Hi, this is actually Christina Ainsworth. I'm just using his link because I couldn't locate mine, but I'm wondering, we're having issues with, so we had a recent approval of site locations, and we're trying to enter SIPs. And if was already answered, then I apologize. We're trying to enter SIPs, but when the case managers are going to open the PCPs, it's looking like Woodford's is not an approved site for this, that it hasn't fed over from MIMS. We've tried contacting folks for assistance, and it seems like no one knows who is the person of contact for this to help us navigate this issue.
Yes, I know that we were having an issue with migrating, actually importing from Woodford's to the larger organizations. We were having an issue. I have directed my staff to go ahead and enter that location, and I think it's the one that you're talking about. So if you could actually email the evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov, and I will look for that email with that location for you.
Well, it's all the locations that were recently approved. They're not feeding over. I think a few of them have, but most of them have not fed over into Evergreen for our site. They're not showing as approved or as available for Woodford's.
Okay, so we can look at your location specifically. So how many locations are there for Woodford's that you are anticipating?
So the ones that were just recently approved were about, I want to say 12. I can send the list over, and yeah, so those plus 3 numbers are not showing as approved sites when you look at them in Evergreen.
Sure, if you can actually email those, that would be great, and I will have my staff look at those today for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And it could be, this is Derek, and it could be that depending on how recently, so there's the process where Gainwell may say your case is complete, and then it's awaiting attachment. So you have to have the agreement and the contracts have to be attached. So it might not technically be complete in MIMS until Office of Maine Care Services team attaches those provider contracts. So once those provider contracts, then it will feed over into Evergreen, but it's not technically complete until those provider contracts are assigned to that location.
Right. So they were approved about a little over 3 weeks ago. So unless it takes longer than what it did with EIS, but I'll send those over just to see what's going on.
Great, thank you.
Danielle Lamy.
Hi, I hope I asked this question right because I don't do billing or authorizations or anything, but I know you mentioned before that if MIMS and Evergreen weren't communicating, we can retro bill, which we're aware of and working with MIMS and Pepro. Is there anything we can do as a provider to help this, or is it just something we wait because we're not like a huge agency? My CFO is like, hey, Danielle, can you ask in Evergreen if there's anything we can do?
Emily or Derek, do you want to take that question?
I was just trying, can you sort of repeat the ask?
I can do my best. Yeah.
Is it the So is it that the prior authorization has not been entered, or is it around the issue of if you haven't seen, because I saw that there was in the chat, like sometimes a provider saying, we don't know if the case manager has the agreement by the guardian or the member with this, which has always been a sort of long-standing question. So I'm just trying to parse out what the question is, and then
Sure. Yeah. So the prior authorizations are there. When we pull the report in Evergreen, we can see them all. The case manager's done their job. We have a signed PCP. We have a SIP. We have all of the pieces in Evergreen. What's not happening is it's not going over to MIMS, or it's going over incorrectly to MIMS. And so they're saying they can't bill because they don't match, I think. And again, I apologize if I'm butchering the question because I don't do this piece of it.
Yep, that makes sense. So what we've asked is if you can sort of collect that actual information, like the main care ID, if you have the claim ID, and put it in like a spreadsheet so that we can then go in and fix those issues if it's a issue of needing to add units or correct units, and depending on is it like a urgent now issue, or is it a future issue too? That would be great, so that we have some sense of how to triage among the almost 200 providers.
Okay. And sorry, you said claims ID.
As much information as you can on a spreadsheet would be very helpful for us.
And Derek, is this the one that might also CC Olivia? If not, Emily will?
Correct. Yes, if it's a location, if it's a location issue or something like that too. Yeah.
Okay. And sorry, just because I'm the clinical director, I don't do this piece. What where am I having them send it to? Just in case they don't know.
It's the resource.
I think I hope it's in the Q&A as an answer to somebody's question, but resource coordinator odes at maine.gov is where we're asking waiver providers to send concerns. And like Derek said, if there's a list of them, certainly you can include the whole list, but it's also fine just to send like a one-off, in the body of the email, this is the, again, specifics about what we're seeing happen. And again, we can get to the bottom of it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. We got about 5 minutes left. Let's go Lynn Augustine.
Good morning. My question is about service location addresses. It was similar to a question a couple of questions ago. We had a maintenance case approved back in January. But what's happened is we still don't have those 16 new service location addresses. I don't think they've been added yet. So it's been a couple of months that we're still waiting on those. I did send some specifics to the resource coordinator email probably yesterday or a day or two ago, hoping to get a response. I think, Lisa, you had asked a prior agency to send that list to you of those service location addresses. Would that be a separate email than the resource coordinator one? Because I think we're facing the same problem.
Sure. If you want to go ahead and send that to the evergreen.dhhs as well, I can actually look at that. My staff and I can look at that together to see if we may be able to figure out what might be going on. We'll look to see if they're ready to be imported or not. And if they're not, then maybe we can reach out to someone over at MIMS, maybe Olivia, to help us determine what's going on.
Okay, I appreciate that. Oh, go ahead.
No, typically it would go through the resource coordinator email, but just if you're having issues, and mostly they would probably forward it to our staff as well. So, but no door is a wrong door. So definitely please email.
Thank you. And then the second part of my question is, and I did put it in the chat, but it's more of a request, something to maybe put on the hope list. I feel like right now case managers have access to the agencies lost in this migration or transition. We lost the ability to select the service location address in the SIP. And now case managers have total access and control over that. And I think it's not a great idea. If you have a lot of service location addresses, some of them might be misspelled or they might be out of date and they might not be used anymore. A case manager is not going to know that. So if they select the wrong one, we're going to get an authorization that's incorrect. So I think just to put on I just think that the agencies are going to need access to those again and to be able to select them or edit them, one or the other. Thank you for hearing that.
Thank you, Lynn. We will definitely go ahead, Derek.
I was just going to say it's often what we talk about is making sure that the correct locations are selected. We don't know what the correct location should be unless it's selected, and if we hear from, so it's something that we are taking back to make sure that that the correct location is prior authorized with the right amounts and type of service.
Thank you, Derek.
We got 1 minute left, so I've got one question left, so that works out great. Alexa, Connor.
Hi, good morning. And actually my question is actually kind of along the lines of Lynn's, but we have a authorization that has the incorrect address on it. How do we go about correcting this? Was that already asked and answered?
I'm not sure, but that definitely should go to the resource coordinator email.
So
go ahead.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. So we reached out to the case manager who did email their resource coordinator, and the email they got back and sent on to us was that we needed to email the resource coordinator.
Emily, I don't know if you're still there.
I'm here. I'm just making sure I caught the whole question. So you're saying there's an issue with an authorization. So I'm sorry. It sounds like, again, you're stuck in an annoying cycle. I can look into that, Alexa, if you don't mind sending it just one more time. I'm one of the folks that has access to resource coordinator odes at maine.gov. So if you're by a computer, I apologize if you were sent in a circle, but it is the right place to send a question or concern about an authorization. So
Okay.
I'm sorry you got set in a circle. Thank
No,
you so much.
that's totally fine. I just want to make sure, we're doing it correctly so it does get addressed. So that's all. But if that's the right thing to do, happy to do it.
Thank you, Alexa. And thank you, everybody, for attending the meeting today. Great questions. I hope you got some great answers. And as always, if you have questions, please email the inboxes that we've provided you. And we will talk to you again next week. Thank you.
Thank
you, everyone.
Thank you.